Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rupy. Today we're just going to talk about some fall palettes. I decided, because I've seen everyone do this tag, which I guess is it a tag or is it just a top 10? It's just my top 10 favorite fall palettes. So we're going to jump into it. I'll give you a quick sneak peek. Here are my fall palettes. I kind of wanted to go for like a variety of things. I didn't want to just stick to like one thing. Also, these are going to be in no particular order. One of the palettes I am wearing, I did not unfortunately film this look. Actually, I did do a live with Karen over on Instagram. So if you do want to see how I did the look, I did do it on there, but I didn't explain it thorough. I will link it in the description bar. Otherwise, I will have everything that's on my face listed on my Instagram post with this look. So if you're not following me on Instagram, be sure to follow me. It's at rupyyminhas, but I will have everything in that bar that's down there. So follow me. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so the first one I'm going to do, and I feel like a lot of some of these palettes are probably going to be repeats from other people's videos, but I mean, then you know it's a really good fall palette, right? So the first one being this one here from Melt. This is their Gemini palette. Absolutely love this one. It's got such a beautiful grungy color story. This is absolutely stunning for fall. It's just got, you know, the perfect amount of brown tones and greens and just all these lovely colors. This mustard shade on the end here is really beautiful, and then you have a nice black to deepen everything up. But I think that this is just absolutely stunning. I really also like this shade. This is more mustardy. I would say this is a little more chartreuse. I need to like learn my colors, but it's just really pretty. The only, I guess, like downside is that you only get two shimmers. You get the one here in the green, which is goals, and then you get the one here, which is Gemini for the Gemini palette. It's funny, we were just talking about in Karen's live how so many things in palettes are called Gemini. One of the shades I actually have on is called Gemini, so that's really funny. So this is one that I recommend. So the next one I have is Supreme Nudes from Artist Couture. Now this is just a very basic like neutral palette. I'm gonna try not to blind you guys. Here it is. This is what it looks like. It's kind of, you know, a similar color story to the one that we just looked at. I'm just gonna turn off my ring light so I can really show you. That's not good. Let's turn it down. We're gonna turn down the ring light a little bit so you can see better. But there it is. It's kind of a neutral color story, and you know, I don't know, it's similar to the vibe of the Gemini palette, but definitely very, very different. The shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. The shade Supreme is why everyone wants this palette, which is the green. But this shade here, I'm not going to swatch from every palette because I don't know, that's just going to waste a lot of time. But this shade, this lavish shade, is so, so pretty. Let me see if I can swatch it there for you. Look at that. It's like, I don't know, it's like a bronzy gold shift with almost like a green to it. It's not really like a full-on multi-chrome, but I mean, I guess if in neutral palettes you're gonna look for a multi-chrome, that's probably one that you could call a multi-chrome. So it's a really, really pretty shade. I really quite enjoy that. All right, so my next palette is one by Sigma. It's the Untamed palette. The packaging on this is so, so cute. On the back of it, it tells you what all the shades are. So it's got some really pretty colors. I almost feel like the middle portion of this, like right here, gives me very, you know, the Gemini vibes. And then you get like a whole bunch of other colors. And I feel like there we go. The light's kind of washing it out, but there it is. I love like the pop of blue. There's so many palettes that have a lovely pop of blue, but I think you can do so much with a blue eyeshadow for fall. The purples in here are super pretty, but most of all, I just really love the grungy greens. I love the burgundies. You get cool tones, you get warm tones. I think there's a little bit of everything in this palette, and Sigma often does sales where they do 40% off, so you can get this on a really, really great deal. But that is another palette that I love during the fall time. I should also note some of these palettes are going to be very new to me, so I haven't used them a lot. Those three I've used quite a bit, but like the next one I've only used I think twice now, and that is the MAC Tempting Fate Feast Your Eyes palette. I did a video on this. I will link it in the iCards. For any of the ones that I do have a video on, I will link it up in the iCards for you guys. But this one is just so pretty. It's so different from anything I've ever tried from MAC. The mattes in here, so this shade, and this shade, absolutely stunning. They're like a cream to powder formula, and if you guys know, I absolutely love the cream to powder formula from Natasha Denona. It is very similar. It's not exact, but it is, I wouldn't say like a dupe, but it's pretty close. Some of the topper shimmers in here are okay, but this metallic copper shade, it's like fall in an eyeshadow. It's so gorgeous. I love the packaging on it. Like even the packaging theme is very on point for fall. So I do really love that one. Next, I have a Juvia's Place palette, and it's been a while, I think, since I've talked about a Juvia's Place palette on my channel. So this one is the Nubian 3. It is the Coral palette, and I feel like this one doesn't get as much hype as I feel like it deserves. It's such a different color story from so many palettes that you see out there. Like this one's got all these like nice charcoaly grays, it's got bronzes, it's got kind of rusty tones, it's got corals. It's just like, these are colors that I think people don't think to pair together, but I just think that they're absolutely stunning. Like, look at those grays. Are you kidding? They're so pretty. And I feel like you can get quite a few good fall looks out of this. You can go smoky with the grays. You can go gray and brown like that. I feel like that would be such an interesting combo. The coral and the gray, the coral and the brown, just the corals, just the browns. Like there's just so many variations within this palette, even though it seems like it's kind of one tone. But I feel like if you were to take these pans out of the actual palette, because the palette is so coral, that it would look a little bit more standout. But I do think that that one is really pretty, and the formula on this one is pretty decent. I will say the Juvia's formula is no longer one of my favorites. It used to be, but because I've tried so many other palettes, I have so many more favorites now that it kind of doesn't make the mark. Next, I have the Huda Palette. This is the Desert Dusk. This was my first Huda palette ever. It's the one that has, you know, the eye card that everyone was, you know, doing that whole trend with. I don't know. I wasn't a part of that. I didn't. This is probably one of my most used palettes of like 2020. I used this one quite a bit. And now you're probably looking at it and you're like, really, that for fall? But I don't know what it is just about these purples and the oranges and, you know, like all of these shades, like I feel like just do really well for a fall. There's a lot of warmth to this palette, but then you also get just a little bit of neutralness within these 6 shades here. And I think that that's really cool. I mainly love this palette. This was like probably back when I didn't discover duochromes, but this like purpley blue duochrome shade, let me see if I can swatch it. Yeah, see, it's like a purple to blue. That was one of the reasons I really wanted this palette. Little did I know about indie brands back then, but that is one of the reasons that I grabbed this one. So I do really love this for the fall, but this is a great all year round palette for me. And this is also one that I love using for like Indian weddings because I feel like it just does a great job at, you know, any look that would match any of your Indian outfits. I feel like you can get from this palette. So this one is definitely one that I love. All right, next on the list is Sydney Grace, and this one I actually picked up last year, and I think it was during the fall time. I've used this probably 2 or 3 times, I think. It hasn't gotten a lot of love, but that was also because when I got it, it came with the shade Broken, and I refused to use it until I fixed that broken shade. But if you look at this, this is just like a lovely, cool toned, perfect fall story. So I'll do a little bit of a close-up on there. There it is. These like silvery tones down here, this kind of olivey green down here. So beautiful. The blue's really pretty. Like, look at that olive shade. Do you see that? Oh, it's so pretty. This Albert shade, it's like kind of a charcoal, kind of a mid-tone charcoal. So pretty. This Devotion shade. I really love the Sydney Grace shimmers. There's just something about them. And this shade John, I use this all over the lid. in a look. It was for a nailed it video that I did months ago, and I will link that in the iCards too for you. But just look at those shades. They're so pretty for fall. I absolutely love those. You know what? I've never played with this purple, and I just want to swatch it for the sake of swatching it, because why not? Look at that. Look at those swatches. Like, there's just something so special about their shimmer formula, and I don't know what it is, but I'm dying to get this charcoal shade now on my eyes, so I'm gonna have to play with this one soon. Okay, next on the list is one of my favorite formulas, one of my favorite brands right now. You guys have probably already guessed it as soon as I said that. I'm including two palettes from this brand. So the first one is actually super reflective. I'm going to try not to blind you, but it's the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. Now, a lot of people do think this is a beautiful summer palette. However, look at these tones. You can't look at these tones and tell me that there's nothing fall about this palette. Like, this is absolutely stunning in the fall. You get all these beautiful reds and orange tones, and you know, there's like this beautiful purpley brown, I don't even know how to explain it. Rhodium is such a cool shade, but you know, all these golds and champagnes, like there's just so much warmth and depth in this palette that I think you can get so many different types of fall looks. So that was one that I wanted to include, but the one that for me is really fall is a really new palette to my collection. Yes, it's this shiny beast right here. It is the Natasha Denona Gold palette, and I'm mentioning this one because one, I love it. I would mention this regardless of whether it was discontinued or not, but I believe that it's popped back up on the US Sephora website, so I will leave a link down below to the palette, but also you can get it at Sephora Canada too. So this is what the color story looks like. I don't know what it is with me in fall, but fall is when I love my green tones, as you can tell. But I just absolutely think this is gorgeous. Like, I just love this color story. I played with this a lot. This shade actually, it came fine when I got it, but it eventually, like 2 or 3 weeks into having it, it actually shrunk in the pen. And what I've learned is that it's very putty like formula, so you have to like squish it back in. That's why that one looks so mangled. But I have used it. I really love like this mustard shade. I love this shimmery green. Lime chrome is such a cool color. Yes, Indie can probably duplicate that and do better, but you know, I just absolutely love it. And I am going to try to see if I can find a dupe within my collection for lime chrome for those of you who simply just want this palette because of that shade, and also because a friend had asked me, although I think that friend now has the gold palette. So I will see what I can do through my collection to kind of dupe that out. But yeah, I do really love Natasha Denona's formula, and I will say that if you can't afford to get, you know, one of the big ones, I think one of these size ones are perfect, and the bronze one is such a great formula. Like, I feel like this one lives up to the big palette formula, where some of the other midis not so much. The Glam is probably another option you can use for fall, but I'm more of a warm tone kind of girl. I like the cool tones, but I have to be in a very like smoky kind of mood for it, so that's why I didn't include this one, because it's not the first one that I pick up. But bronze is probably one that I would pick up out of my midis for Natasha Denona. And I wanted to include both price points because I think that it's fair to do that when they're so steep, you know, in difference. And the last palette is actually the one I'm wearing on my eyes, and I really wanted to play with this today because I was feeling that very grungy green purple fall vibe. And so that is the Not Normal palette from Alien Cosmetics. It's actually my first time using it, but it's more so the color story, you guys. The color story for fall is perfection. You can do purple looks, you can do a neutral look, you can do green looks, there's chartreuse, so you can stick to just the yellowy shades. Like, there's a lot of depth and variation in this palette for it being such a concise color story, and it's just so interesting. It's such an interesting color story. I got to use, let's see, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the shades. Nope, 6 of the shades. I'm wearing 6 of the shades on my lids right now. I did not use any on my cheeks. No, I'm wearing a highlighter from their highlighter palette, but also look at the artwork. Like, how cool. I love this so much. This is a great palette. This is a brand I discovered last year in the winter, and it all started with their holiday 2020 It is very unique. You know what it reminds me of though? It reminds me of, in a way better like color story, it reminds me of the Melt Beetlejuice. That's kind of what my look reminds me of right now, at least. Like I'm getting very Melt Beetlejuice vibes, but I feel like this is just so much better. Like if I got that Melt Beetlejuice palette, I don't think I would have been as happy with it as I am with this. So I'm so happy I got this one, and I feel like the price point on this one is a lot better as well. But yeah, those are my 10 palettes for fall that I think are absolute perfection. You don't need them all, but you know, you can pick your favorite color story out of those palettes. I will have links to all of the palettes down in my description bar below so that you can go ahead and grab one if you should choose to do so. And they are affiliate links, which I now have, so if you do use them, it really does help me out, and I'm really appreciative of that. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know which palette out of all of these is your favorite, or let me know what your favorite fall palette is. And also don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on your way out, or thumbs down depending on however this video made you feel. If you haven't already subscribed, I would really appreciate you doing so, but it's not mandatory. You can visit, you can just visit, that's fine. I'll let it go. Anywho, that's all for this video, you guys. I hope that you're all doing well. Please stay safe, be healthy, and be kind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.